can hear it now. Fans take the field, and out of that eastern tunnel pour 215 well-drilled, well-disciplined Michigan bandsmen. They pour over the eastern sideline, they pour in the big block in, and they play the greatest college fight song ever written.
Seth, my friend, Happy New Year in a couple days.
Yeah, and Merry Christmas, and happy all the other things, and especially forward down the field, the charging team that will not yield.
Rah.
Kings in the north.
Goodness, incredible. It's a cup of coffee type of morning for me, so excuse me for a second while I sip this. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. I don't know when people are going to see this, but we're going to record MGO Radio in just a few minutes after this, so I'm going to push you along and push me along. Yeah.
Push you along. I'll remind you. I'll set your timer. So, well, hey, rates did a big thing a couple weeks ago, down around 6.5 from 8 2 months ago. So, all things are positive. Rates are good. The Lions are the champions of their division for the first time since we were 12 years old. So. Not too bad. Let's talk about something a little more frightening, and that's Alabama's pass defense. And this all originated right with Saban and Belichick. So we've seen a lot of this over the years from the Patriots. But
yeah, totally.
Let's check it out.
Yeah, so this is their cover 1, cover 3 hybrid, and they spend most of the day in this system. And it's a hard system to learn. There's a gazillion checks. I'm not going to teach you all the checks. I'm going to teach you how to look at it and see kind of who's responsible, so you can kind of point down on the field and be like, aha, we got that guy. And Georgia's a good example because Georgia really spent all year practicing to find ways to confuse them. You use a lot of motions, you move guys across the formation to kind of mess with them. But here's the basic setup, all right? You got your cornerbacks, right? You got your and then he calls these two guys apex. Now, one of them is going to roll down. One of them is going to, stay high over the, and then this guy's going to be a free safety in the middle. But you never know which one of these guys is going to be the apex, right? This guy could roll down, whatever. They move guys around. But in your general 2x2 setup, right, you got 1-2 receivers on each side. You got the running back as the third receiver. This is kind of how they look. And then this guy, based off how the tight end does, he'll kind of roll down. So, and then you got these hole defenders. They call their linebackers. So free safety, apex guys, cornerbacks, hole defenders, and then 4 basic linemen. Things can mess around. They can go to a 3-4 with this too and have this guy sometimes be an apex guy. They can screw around with, but that's the basic setup. All right. The way this works, you have the cornerbacks cover number 1. They're going to come down. They're going to be impressed. That gives you no space underneath, right? So if you played a regular cover 3, you've seen this a gazillion times with Michigan. There's that space underneath to throw a quick hitch. That's usually not going to be there because these guys are going to come in and play press. Now, they're going to play man as long as the receiver stays vertical. If he goes under, that means if he comes inside, okay, you yell under and someone else is going to pick him up, and that's going to be these apex guys. The way they read their thing is they're going to watch this number 2 receiver. If he goes vertical, they got to stay on top of him. If he's down, they can kind of react to him, but they're listening for an undercall from the cornerback because they got to pick him up if that happens, okay? Otherwise, they kind of stay wide, and stay over number 2. But if you hear under, you got to switch positions. It's kind of like a basketball defense. You hear the call, you kind of flip with them. Now, they're going to have help high from the free safety, and they're going to help on the inside from the hole defenders. So they can do the same thing. They can also yell under if the guy is kind of like, this guy goes in a route this way. You can yell under, and the linebackers should take care of it. Or the apex, right? You kind of staying in your position and someone's going to keep on yelling under and telling you to switch. If you don't hear under, you stay on your guy. And then you got these hook defenders or hole defenders. They are told, number 1, play the run. They can be very aggressive against the run because you're just listening for a hole, and as long as you're not doing that, you're in charge of the running back. And both these guys have the running back. So what you'll see with them often, the running back goes off in a pattern. One of them is just going to hightail right after him. Okay? Don't screw around. Don't wait. If he's coming out your side, you go after him. If he does, and if he runs away from you, if the running back leaves and there is no number 3 to your side, you drop. You're now a waiting for under calls, right? You're gonna have somebody coming into your zone, so you drop and you get deep and you listen for under calls because somebody's going to be coming from you. Okay. Otherwise, you can kind of play contain. You can look at the backside. You can play the quarterback. A lot of times he'll spy the quarterback. But that's only if this guy leaves. If he comes out your side, you're responsible for him. So that's
Well,
how
you
they
don't see,
play.
Seth, a whole lot of college defenses play a whole lot of in-play switching. I mean, they're going to try and match up. They're going to switch pre-snap. But
Yeah.
Alabama runs a system that, not a whole lot of college teams get to. Part of that is, they have pretty darn talented corners, safeties on the outside. So, and you saw us do this. You actually saw us do some in-play switching. We talked about that a few weeks ago. But we see it almost every play with them.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not just like quarters where like the safeties and quarterbacks just are playing their own side. This is a full team switchability. And I mean, that's why you saw when Damani Jackson entered the portal, I mean, Michigan fans were like, yeah, let's go after this guy because, he was really high on Michigan. He's friends with Will Johnson. I think Michigan was probably contacting him and talking to him a lot. But, Alabama was going to go after that guy with all the money because that's exactly the kind of player that they need to run this system, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to be able to move quicker than everybody else. You have to be able to think quicker than everybody else, and you have to be able to get to one spot on the field to the other spot of the field quicker than everybody else. It's one of those roles that's pretty hard to fill, and they fill it every year because they're Alabama and they've got 2 or 3 guys waiting on the sideline who can probably do it too.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not just the cornerbacks. You have, I think they want him to be one of these guys because, the idea is you need to be so versatile. And that's what Damani Jackson was, at least coming out of high school. I didn't watch him a bunch at USC because I was not about to watch USC defense much this year. But versatility is what they want because that guy might have to be a free safety this play. He might have to be a cornerback this play. He might have to be a strong safety or a nickel this play. He might have to play linebacker one play. So that's what they love, players like that. So I was going to have you read this out for me. I was going to play the game, I'm going to show you the routes and ask you how they're supposed to cover. All right, so cornerback. You got a vertical route going here. What's he do?
All right, so you're putting me on the spot here, Seth. I'm learning this on the fly, so hopefully none of the fans out there think I'm an idiot. But I'm here to learn from you.
I know, but
if he's coming under, right? That's where we have
He's not
switch,
coming under.
so,
he's going. He's just going vertical.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. If he's coming under, that's where you have the switch. So the corner's going to take him. He's pressing him. He's going to go with him deep.
Yep. Stays in man. All right. How about this apex guy? What's he do?
Yeah, he's also going to stay above on that.
Yep. And then the hook defenders. Do you remember what they do?
And it says it on the side. I'm not cheating, but I was trying to not look at the side. So yeah, the hook defender. He's running with the running back every time on this.
Yeah. So H1 here is going to fly out to the flat, and H2 is going to get depth. Right. That's your basic setup. That's how they. So now they have a guy on top of every guy who's going to be, running a vertical route. You got that covered. All right. Let's try another one. You got the cornerback going in on a slant. You've got tight end kind of staying in to block for a second, then going out in the flat. And you have running back running play action. All right, cornerback, what's he doing?
Yeah, we're gonna get a switch there. He's gonna jump off, stay to the outside.
Yep. He's gonna call under, pass off number 1, and find number 2. Right? He basically falls into a cover 3.
Apex is gonna drop down, cover that,
right.
And then
Perfect. And then the hole defenders, the hook defenders are going to just get that running back, right?
Who says you can't teach an old dog new tricks,
That's right. Here you are. You're playing saving defense. It's easy to teach. That's the point. All right. We got a smash route here. Very old-fashioned smash route with a little bit of play action, or maybe call this an RPO on the backside, right? All right. What's going on here? Cornerback?
Yeah, he's cornerback's going to – well, it looks vertical, so that's where I'm confused. Tell me what's going to happen here. It looks like vertical, but then he breaks it off. He's going to stay with him, I believe.
Yep, you're exactly right. So he sees vertical, he's going to get on top of him, stay on him, and he's just got to cover the hook and man. Now remember, he's starting in press. So you want to run hook against that, your cornerback's going to be right on his shoulder, on his pocket, right? They've taken that away pretty much. All right? Apex defender, what's his job?
Apex is always going to take the top there.
Yep.
So looks like he's going to stick with them.
Yep, that's right. Just gets wide, stays on top of number 2 the whole way. And then the hook defenders
Gonna
run aggressive, right?
crash down, probably try and set the edge too a little
Yep.
bit.
Yeah, you'll see with the run look there, you're probably going to see him kind of following the running back to the ideal gap for that running play, and then if you got like a zone read on here in the backside, he might actually be coming down and helping on the backside. So you can see how it gets complicated for them, right? There's a lot to think about. Here's the one that's super complicated. Here's a Mills play, or Michigan runs this a whole lot, right? On different looks. This one's got the tight end going on the post, and this one's got the number 1 receiver is going to be coming across on a dig route. So how are you going to play this one?
I think the corner in this one, I mean, there's nobody else running outside, so it seems like he runs the middle with them, at least until they get started. That's interesting to see where that switch happens.
Yeah.
Or if they
All right,
do
so
switch.
he sees an under, right? As soon as he goes under, what's he got to do?
Yeah, let him go, yeah.
He's got to yell under, and then he's got to look up the number 2 receiver. So this is where
Yeah.
they come into problems sometimes. Sometimes they get this whole shot in here, because what you're going to do is you're going to see this under, right? You start a slant here, you're going to see that under, right? He's going to call under. Apex defender is going to hear that under, and he's going to start getting in the way of this guy. Now, when he turns up, he's on number 1 now, right? So he's got to stay above number 1, okay? And until he goes under, and when he goes under, he's finally going to be able to call for help from one of these hook defenders. So he's got a very complicated job on this one because he's staying on top of number 2 until he hears that undercall, and he's got to get number 1 and cornerback here. That's why they need these athletes, right? He's got to follow number 2. Now, he does have help from the free safety, right? He's got help from the inside. So as long as he can get on top of him, he's okay. But this is a scary moment for them, and Georgia tried to hit them a whole bunch with this one. And then also you got this play action here, so you got the hook defenders playing the run aggressively. As soon as you hear that undercall, these guys have to know that there's a pass going out. There's something that they hear that. They communicate with each other. There's lots of pointing and saying, this guy could do this guy could do that, watch out for this, right? And as soon as you see that pass, this guy's going to gain depth, and he's looking for this crossing route because he's got to have to help him. So they have this help from the inside for these in-breaking routes, and that's how they cover those.
Yeah, but I mean, as you're trying to set them up as an offense to get those seams down the field, but it seems like it's a tough defense to get those the unders and the digs and everything with, obviously.
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, when you see the setup, you're watching this on TV, right? It's not hard to pick out, especially on a 2x2. It's not hard to pick up, here's the apex guys, there's the cornerbacks, there's the free safety, there's the hook defenders, right? It's not hard to see it. You're going to see them all pointing whenever there's motion, because what they're doing is they're changing jobs around and saying, I got this guy, I got that guy, number 3 is this person, whatever. On this play here, this receiver is actually going to come across in motion. So they're going to end up getting a trips look. And they're going to have to switch to like their, you're going to have a different number on everybody. This guy will be the number 4 receiver if he comes out on this side. This guy will be the number 3. Or once he crosses him, he's the number 3. It gets complicated, right? So I wanted to show you this play and kind of how things get all screwy. So here's this play I was just showing you. All right, they make all their calls. He starts moving down because he's the apex guy, right? He doesn't have much to worry about as soon as he goes across. All right, quarterback backs off. This motion now is switching everything around. Here's your number 4 receiver, number 3, number 2, number 1. And as he goes across, okay, they're playing the same game, but he's now moved this is the nickel guy, and he's moved all the way across, and he's playing 1. Okay, he's playing cornerback. This guy, cornerback, has now moved to an apex job. And then the one guy who didn't get it, right here's this linebacker. He's a true sophomore. Okay. He's playing the run aggressively, but he's that backside guy, right?
Yeah.
So as soon as he pulls that off, he's got number 3 coming out the outside. Number 3 is this tight end. You see how that motion kind of screwed them all up and made him look at the wrong dude? So he's looking at the running back, playing the run aggressively, and you let Brock Bowers loose.
Yeah, easy little dump off.
Oh, yep. So this is the kind of thing you're going to see all the time with them. Now, you're going to see lots of communication. Here they are setting up. They like to do 2 high setup, and then one's going to roll down, right? But you can kind of see who everyone's going to be. Now, Georgia's going to mess around with them. change up their look. Point out, look at all this pointing. Everybody's saying, okay, I got this guy. He motions in. I got this guy. I got this guy. Same thing, though. Number one, right? Cornerback has number. These are the number 2 receivers. Those are going to be your apex guys, right? This guy's come down on this tight end because he's an apex guy. He's the apex guy. He's going to have the other one. You're going to have a free safety in the middle.
Well,
They
and you
always kind
absolutely,
of point and
you
change.
have to have elite athletes on the outside to be able to press that hard at the line.
Oh, yeah.
Particularly, if he's going to be covering the deep route, normally a guy's pressing that hard and he's giving that off to somebody else. He's covering his zone. He's only got to stay with him for the first 5 or 10 yards. But that's why they covet guys like Damani Jackson, and that's why they spend the money.
Yeah, totally.
Him,
Well, and they also, these guys know their jobs so well. So he's playing apex, but he's playing it low, okay? And watch how he reads this, okay? His tight end goes to the other side. So now they're switching jobs, right? Now this guy's going to be number 2 on this side. He's going to be the number 1 receiver on that side, okay? Watch him play this. Watch him watch his guy. Watch his guy. And then they do it on the other side too, okay? Look at all this pointing, all right? That's number 2. That's number 2. He's the apex's guy. I can play the run. And then when this guy comes across, he's number 3. I got him. Look at him. Just react. Get out there and get on top of number 3. They have switches for all this stuff, and that's why there's all this communication. Here's another motion. It gets them in a trips formation, and then they snap it right away, and that's supposed to kind of screw up their ability to communicate. But these guys play it so well, except the linebackers. Okay, he was coming into blitz. He pauses for a second because he saw that motion. He's flat-footed. He gets pushed out of his gap, and they get a run out of it. So that's why all this motion kind of screws with them, because everybody's got to make the check as they go. But they're really smart. Some of these guys. Watch this guy. Look how much happens to him in the course of this play. He's the apex player on this play, right? All right. Got all these guys coming across. I got him coming down on me, but he's still watching. What's my number? This guy comes inside. What's my number? I'm the number 3. I'm the number 2 as soon as he gets outside. So the one thing that you can do with them, though, is remember how they always kind of needed help inside? Yeah. They can run out of it eventually. So if you're going to have so many guys going under, okay? Undercall. Oh, no, I got to get this guy. And 2 of these guys go for the undercall in the same spot, and that leaves him right open.
Yeah, it seems like it'd be interesting to see Alabama, defense on the road with a lot of noise, how that impacts it in a neutral site kind of game. Not as big a deal, but lots of moving parts in comparison to most college defenses. And you see NFL defenses be able to communicate this way, but definitely not 18 to 22-year-olds usually.
Yeah, and it makes it really hard on the quarterback, too, because it's hard to read out. You're used to guys doing certain things in man. You get a man cut, right? So this guy's rolling down. He's following him outside. You think you got a man read or you got a cover 3 read, okay? You're watching him. He comes down on this. You're thinking, oh, I got my deep shot. But you have somebody going back. This guy's going to come back and play safety. And this is what you're talking about. You need these guys to be so so good at reading, right? So
right at the point that ball is thrown, it looks like a touchdown. It looks like he's got it, and then all of a sudden that guy's doubled up, and it's nearly an interception.
Right. And what was this guy at the beginning of the play? He's number 1, right? But he gets an undercall. Under. See how he put his arm out there? Under. Now he's staying above him, but he's looking up number 2. He finds number 2, and he gets out there and gets up. So, there's a lot of complication to this defense. It's really hard to play it and learn it and get all the switches right. But when they get it right, this thing is just unstoppable. And that's why Saban runs it. He's been running it for years. They've been messing around with it for years and years. But once you get the whole thing down, you have the athletes to run it. It is a fantastic system. So that's what you're going to see out there in this game. And, it's going to be something new for JJ to have to read out.
Yeah, you haven't seen us go to the line quick, make that first read, snap the ball. What do you see from us? Is it going to look different on offense?
Lots of motion, lots of tight ends, lots of they're going to try to get Loveland mixed up, matched against some of those cornerbacks and see if they can get a size advantage or something. They're going to try to mess around with their formations. I think Michigan's mostly going to attack them inside. I think that those guys are not. They're too good for our receivers are, right? Roman Wilson can get the top off, but they have the speed to stay with them, and what they're going to do is going to mess around with them with their linebacker calls, try to get those linebackers to feel like they can't attack the run very aggressively, because I think Michigan can beat them at the defensive tackles. So I think you're going to see lots of tight ends. You're going to see lots and lots of motion, lots of different looks. Throw trips on one side, throw an extra lineman on the field. You got to mess around with them. You cannot give them an easy look, and then you got to change things up as you go. And then those linebackers will screw things up. One of the safeties is a true freshman. He might make mistakes sometimes. They're good players. They're smart players, and they've been playing it all year. So now they're a lot better than they used to be. But that's not unbeatable. It's Alabama.
Yeah, it's Alabama. It's going to be a heck of a football game. I hope we have another one to talk about next week. That would be pretty incredible. I mean, getting this matchup is tough. Beating Alabama has been tough for as long as I can remember, and hopefully we can pull one out, man. It's you put yourself in this position, you have a chance, and we'll see what happens, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll be pretty smart about it. I'd love to see some Alex Orji in this game because, or some McCarthy runs. They're going to be prepared for McCarthy runs, but when they leave a safety high, and that's what they do, right? They always have that help inside. Leaving that safety high. Do you remember the 2015 game against Ohio State? And then Ohio State the year before played Alabama, and they had the same kind of success. And that's because when that safety's high, they don't have a man for the quarterback. So you add that quarterback to the running game, and now they're a man down. The linebackers, if they're not playing aggressive, are not going to be able to fill those gaps. And I think that's where Michigan could have a lot of success. So let's see. They've had some time to come up with some things.
Yeah, we definitely haven't gone to the JJ run as a primary thing. He obviously has the ability to do it, and when he has those opportunities, he can run. He's been pretty hesitant to run this year. I think that was coaching and wanting him to stay clean during the year.
He was hurt. Yeah, I think he was hurt.
Yeah.
He got, I think, a knee twist during the Penn State game, and that's been, taking that out of the game since then.
Yeah, which is smart. I mean, at this point, though, you kind of leave it all on the field. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully we'll have some smiles on our face come 2024.
Yeah. All right. Well, look for me on TV. I'll be wearing my Keegan jersey and cheering pretty low down on the sideline. So
awesome, man. Go Blue. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.